Stay tuned until the end of the episode. I'll break down this 10-round workout that looks like 20.1 to give you some targets.
Strength Ding Throwdown! On this week's Throwdown, we got Pumped Up Pat and Kyle, Ruth the Tooth Tiger, demo the workout.
I like Pump Up Pat.
We've got shoulder to overhead and bar facing burpees.
You know the deal. We release a workout right here on
YouTube.
every Thursday at
1
p.m.
Let's get it.
Check out our online training programs. If you're a competitor in CrossFit, check out TTT Compete. For those of you that want to look good and feel good, check out TTT Fitness. Head to trainingthinktank.com for more info.
Mia, what's that workout?
This week's Throwdown is 10 rounds for time of 10 shoulder to overhead and 10 bar facing burpees.
Just like 20.1, but a little something else on there. If you want to get on the leaderboard, look in the description down below. There you will also find movement standards and a warm-up for this workout.
This week's demo athlete is Pat with Kyle Ruth, because I guess there's two of them, but Pat, you know Kyle Ruth, he's one of our coaches, he was on our games team. Pat finished 280th in the world in the quarterfinals, so he's a high-level RX or bubble-level elite athlete. He also is in our classroom series with Kyle Ruth. If you're interested in remote coaching and assessments, they actually do their initial consultation together.
And Kyle Ruth coaches him. I don't think you specified that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My bad. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Let's see it.
Let's see it.
3, 2, 1, 0.
He was getting close
Yeah.
to the bar. Getting ready. He didn't touch it.
So, wow, that's a really fast shoulder to overhead
Yes, it
speed
is.
for Pat right there. He wanted to make sure he got out to a little bit of a lead, I guess.
I think they had a bet
gotta
on
win the
who would win
first
the first
round,
round.
right?
Yeah. Oh, but the burpee speed now
yeah.
is already a little bit separated.
So this is, as you guys will notice, similar to the open workout with power snatches and burpees. Except,
20.1.
Yes, 20.1.
Blah.
But as we found out in that workout, the separator was burpee speed. That's not to say that you can't go, you have to go fast in the snatches or the push press or shoulder overhead in this one, but keeping a nice burpee cadence throughout really matters. So going out too hot or too slow can really affect your overall time.
Yeah, do you think there is any benefit? I mean, Pat's shoulder to overhead are substantially faster there, and he's making up a little bit of time, but do you think it's worth it in terms of will it slow down burpees by having to move that fast and shoulder to overhead?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I would
don't know for sure.
I would say
It
based on
doesn't look like the weight is heavy at all for him, and he's not like straining to move that fast. So maybe that'll just, like, I don't know if his burpees would be faster if he moved those slower.
Yeah. So we're 2 rounds in at 1:15. That means that it'd be like a 6 minute and 15 second finishing pace. Do you think that's going to be?
I can assure you that they will not finish in 6 minutes. The burpees Kyle's burpees are already slowing down. They both went out super hot. Everyone did in 20.1 as well. The first round was, especially for the higher level athletes, super fast and they slowed down. The world class times though, they kept the same burpee split for all 10 rounds. You got to keep that in mind.
Yeah.
To kind of answer that question that Max had about the push press speed, it mattered more with the snatches. It doesn't matter as much here because even a slow shoulder overhead is within like a tenth of a second of a fast one, unless you're pausing, right? So I don't think you want to really ramp up and try to like fly through those. I would try to work on your breathing cadence so that you're not holding your breath overhead, because that's a tendency for those that have bad shoulder positions.
Yeah, this workout, so that was about 8 seconds from the time or maybe 10 seconds by the time he finished the push press, finished the burpees and then finished the push press. The push presses are such a small amount of time relative to 8 power snatches, which we saw in 20.1. So you have to take into consideration that the burpees here are going to compound really quick. You're going burpees, real quick shoulder to overhead, burpees, real quick.
Super dense burpees.
Yeah, it's a little bit more spread out. And also, I feel like the cost of a break here is like
not worth it.
Yeah, it's just not even worth it. So it almost might make sense to finish your burpees, go really fast in the shoulder to overhead, and then maybe take a break before you do your next set of burpees, or take a break in the burpees. Maybe break into 5 and 5.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, with the snatches or ground overhead, the bar had to return to the ground anyways.
Yeah.
Here, you're doing extra work.
Yeah, footwork here is interesting. So Kyle is, oh no, he's kind of doing the same thing, but he's still hopping. But he's jumps over one step, hop back. When you watch Pat come again on the other side, he's jumping over, step, and then step all the way back, and then step down with the other foot into a push-up. The dropping into a rep really saves a lot of time on the burpee, but it also takes up a lot of plyometric energy in your upper body. So this kind of step strategy, I think, is a little bit more sustainable, but in a workout like this, where burpee speed's gonna be the dictator of the workout, could potentially slow you down.
Yeah, one thing you can't do and have a fast time is the step back burpee. And I know most people do that, but what Pat's doing here, you just can't keep the same pace as someone that is jumping back. So you have to keep that in mind. The kind of points of performance for those that are really good at burpees, they're doing a 2-foot hop on the way back, and then their chest is hitting the ground before their hips are hitting the ground. So in other words, if you watch Kyle, he should be getting his shoulders down first, and then his hips would hit. And as soon as his hips hit, he's almost worming back up. I know that may sound crazy. We have a burpee
video in
the classroom that kind of demos this, and if you've ever seen someone like Noah, Jake Berman, myself do burpees, you'd see that cadence. That's just so much more efficient and so much faster, but as Max mentioned, it also can blow you up if you're not great at pressing or you're a little bit heavier.
Yeah,
also,
it's a lot to ask.
Yeah, it's a really difficult movement just to coordinate. You're almost like doing a mini hollow back press, like jumping down on and putting your whole body weight on your hands for a second.
I think
so
Kyle
you gotta
is
be pretty strong.
still doing a good job of getting his chest to the ground quickly. It's not quite as fast as the technique Brandon mentioned, but what I see happen is people will put their hips down and then like slowly lower their chest down, which I also do when I get tired.
Well, that's kind of what you can see from Pat there with the step back. His hips will go there, and then he kind of does like a little push-up from his hips or from his knees.
And that's actually more tiring muscularly, but I think what it does is it allows you to take a breath on the way down versus when I focus on just like getting my chest down fast, sometimes it feels like it's like knocking the wind out of me.
Yeah, it's like it changes it from like heart rate and breathing to muscular, or at least that's how I feel it.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's something on both ends that would need to be trained. And people think about CrossFit in a way, it's like, I'm just gonna go really hard and I'll get better at burpees or push press or snatches. But in reality, the best are thinking about the technical aspects of even something as simple as a burpee so that they can be more efficient. And that's something that all of us should be doing.
So Kyle here took his...
Said a little prayer.
He took an 8-second break from finishing the burpees into the shoulder to overhead. I still think maybe if this was an actual real workout, if I were coaching somebody, I'd maybe put the break in the middle of the burpees I think the middle of the burpees probably makes the most sense because resting before the shoulder to overhead, it's such a quick set and it's not really that much power. And then you're right back to the burpees anyway.
So either middle of burpees or before burpees?
Yeah, I think so. I think that would make the most sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think that if you do end up having that as a game plan, then have someone telling you where you are at on the clock, or you count in your head and you have to stick to it, because the tendency is, especially in rounds 7, 8, 9, that rest goes from 3 seconds to 12 seconds.
Yeah, and so Kyle's burpee speed here, he's like hovering between 4 and 5 seconds per burpee. It'd be interesting to see when we come back to Pat. Do you remember the data from 20.1? It's like sub 3 seconds.
Yeah, it is.
Burpee.
It's 2.5 seconds around there for some
so
of the best
fast.
guys. They started at 2.2 seconds per rep, which is
So that was
time
4
yourself.
seconds.
That first rep.
He's holding like 4 to 4.5 seconds chest to chest.
Yeah, so they're pretty much the same speed at this point in the workout. I think Kyle had just basically got a bigger lead early on where he was using his speed. But at this point, now the burpees are kind of, they're
Kyle's
still
also
rhythmic.
racing now, so he knows where he's at. He's around the head.
Yeah.
I think he kind of game planned this out. I'd be interested to see Kyle against someone that's pushing the pace on him.
Yeah.
Just to see if he has a kick or if he kind of just blew up at this point.
I wonder if Pat took this little strategy from Mike. He's the only other person I know that does that. You've seen that? Did you see it?
Mike does that when he's tired. He
Yeah.
puts one hand on the ground at a
I
time.
need to figure that strategy out because I already do CrossFit like a sloth. So
You're always tired, so you need it all the time.
They started with fast burpees. I could just start with those.
I'd
right
rather
off the
my
bat.
chest just get to the ground quickly. I can't plant my hands. I got to get down.
Yeah, I just fall on my face from now on. I'm gonna do no hand burpees.
Max, your face is bruised.
I'll knock myself out so I don't have to finish. So the shoulder to overhead is still, like, the speed of it's still pretty similar. I think for most people, that are competitive at a maybe even higher level intermediate all the way up, this weight should be relatively fast shoulder to overhead.
Yeah.
The one caveat potentially could be people that are weak pressers, just knowing that you're pairing so much pressing with the burpees in. And in that case, if you have to break up the shoulder to overhead, it is what it is, and you just gotta try to make up the time by maintaining your burpee speed. But 100 burpees takes a lot more time than 80 shoulder to overhead.
Yeah.
80 shoulder to overhead is like a minute 20. Oh, there's Kyle finishing it at 8:30. What were the 20.1 best times?
The best time was low 8s.
So faster than that with power snatches?
Yeah,
Jeez,
they were flying.
Louise.
People are crazy.
Yeah, the guy that won that, I think he actually got popped, but he was like
nice.
low 8s. I know it was 8:20 something, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
I forgot fast.
Yeah.
Also, keep in mind if you are pressing limited, like Max said, you do not have to push press, and I would not recommend doing that if you know. Ooh, that was a little crooked.
Yeah.
If you know that the barbell weight is going to catch up to you, start with a push jerk and use your legs.
So you can see Pat has picked up his cadence. This is his last set of burpees. I mean, obviously it makes sense, right? Like you have to kind of spill over in the last 10 burpees to make up some time.
So he's hopping now the whole time. I feel like maybe even potentially, like let's say this was a qualifier, he watched it, he's gonna redo this throwdown. Would you have him maybe intersperse these throughout, or do 5 of these and then 5 of the step back ones, or just tell him if he gets to X round, try to finish?
Yeah, it's really hard. Like Mia said, if you're not great at it, it feels like you're panicking right away. So that's where you have to train that first, but I would definitely incorporate that into some training.
There's a, he's giving some feedback here. I just messed up. I'm dying. All right, let's go to the whiteboard. I'll talk through this workout. All right, we got 2 movements in the workout, relatively straightforward, shoulder to overhead and burpees. If we really look at the total work of this, most of this is going to be 100 bar facing burpees for time, which sounds bleh, but you gotta have a better attitude about it than that. So I'm gonna try to give you some numbers to shoot for. So for shoulder to overhead, we watch Pat's speed was really fast in the demo. Kyle maintained pretty fast shoulder to overhead speed almost the entire workout. For most people, I'm thinking that this is an unbroken target, which is like 8 to 16 seconds. 16 is pretty liberal. That would be like push jerks, coming back down to the shoulder, re-pause, and finishing, thinking of them like almost 8 continuous reps. So if we say, okay, it would be 80 seconds to 160 seconds, that means about, in the total workout, you're spending about 1:20 to 2:40 seconds total on the shoulder to overhead portion. Now, if we contrast that and say 2.5 seconds per rep is about what they started in terms of those really fast initial burpees in the first 2 rounds when they were like more in race mode. And I think both athletes maybe went out a little bit too hot. You could talk to them, but sometimes in those head-to-head settings, it can turn a little bit more into a race and a little bit less into an appropriately strategized event. So at the end of it, Kyle and Pat were about at a 4-second per rep burpee. I say 5 seconds, if you start at a conservative pace, would be a relatively slow but sustainable burpee pace for a higher level intermediate or an RX level athlete. That means that you're spending 4 minutes and 10 seconds to 8 minutes and 20 seconds total on the burpees. So you can see a lot more time is spent here than there is going to be spent here on the shoulder to overhead. If we add that up and we create a spectrum for it, we say total, that's 5 minutes and 30 seconds of total work time if you're going at maximal speeds of the 8 seconds and 2.5 seconds, all the way up to 11 minutes if we're at the slower end of these cadences. However, that doesn't take into consideration transitions. Really fast transitions on a workout like this would be like jumping over the burpee bar, getting there, hands right on, and go up, and there's like a 1-second transition, and then dropping the burpee or dropping the bar and going right directly into your burpee. And there's 19 transitions in the workout since it's 10 rounds, 2 different movements, and then after the last movement in the last round, there's obviously no more transition. So, and we know that there's going to be some embedded time there. If we say 1 second per transition is probably a little bit unrealistic, but maybe 2 as possible for people to be able to sustain. So there's another 30 to 45 seconds embedded, which means that somewhere just around the 6-minute mark would be like, hey, this is a world-class, top-level elite doing this workout in a competitive setting where it actually matters to them. And then sub 12 minutes would be like a good, more intermediate base target. It's relatively simple in terms of that it's just a couplet, it's 10 rounds, the movements are not super complicated. So this one is gonna be about your mindset to be able to maintain the discomfort and then also maintain the technique of your burpees. I would recommend for most people that you come up with some sort of a footwork strategy and try to maintain that as you go. When you see people start to get sloppy with burpees, they jump over the bar, they shuffle feet, they step back with one foot, step back with the other foot, and all that extra time just takes, or so all those extra steps take away time, and they don't necessarily make the rep feel that much easier. So if you can figure out if you're somebody that can jump over the bar and hop straight back down, that's gonna be your fastest option. Can you jump over the bar and hop down and then step up? That maybe would be your second fastest option. And then your third fastest option would be stepping up, jumping over, stepping back, and then stepping up, which is kind of what we saw Pat do in those middle rounds, not in the beginning rounds or like those middle rounds. Sorry, in the last round, he went with the bounding strategy, and in the middle rounds, he was doing the step strategy. So in that demo, you have some sort of an idea of how you can approach burpees differently to go at different speeds and also use a different amount of energy. That's all I got for this workout. It is fast and nasty if you are elite. If you're not, it's probably gonna get bottlenecked by your burpee speed, but make sure you stay disciplined, stay fast, work hard, rest less, create break plans as needed. Have a good time. I'll see you next week.
My bad. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
you're welcome. Let's see it. Let's see it.
It's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Project Pata in this thing, man. Hey, look, man, thank y'all for watching Training Think Tank's YouTube channel. Y'all hit that motherfucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? So y'all go ahead, man. Thank y'all for watching the channel, you know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button. Let it be known, what it be known, what it be known, you know what I'm saying? Pata.